The universe will never determine if you are worthy or unworthy of anything you want. You can have whatever you want, okay? The universe is never going to be like eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you deserve it, you don't. You deserve to be loved, but you don't. You deserve to get that money you want, but you don't, okay? That doesn't happen for the universe. The only thing that happens is that we determine whether we're worthy or not. It's only us, okay? Because we do have our own limiting beliefs that say, am I worthy or not? If you are into astrology, one thing you could check out, for example, is your 2nd and your 7th house. The 2nd house, the Taurus house, is connected to money. If you have something going on there, for example, you have a planet there and it forms a square to another planet, that could indicate that there is some kind of karma that needs to be resolved. And when it comes to love, it will be more like the 7th house, the Libra house. And check again, do you have anything in there? Do you have a square? Or check your Venus. Venus is connected to money and love, because both energies are connected to our worth, sense of worthiness. And if you have any squares to Venus, it's okay. You know, it's good to know. That just shows you, yeah, there is some kind of like a karma, some kind of thing that needs to be overcome to attract it. But again, that is something that you would have chosen prior to incarnation. You choose in what energy you are born in, what your birth chart is. It's your choice. So it's only our own energy that determines whether or not we get what we want, and also when to get what we want. Of course, divine timing does play a role a bit. I have a video on divine timing and patience, because we can manifest whatever we want, but it might not be available like every day, every second. For example, in one timeline, something happened. It's January 18th when I'm recording this. It happened on January 18th. And then there's another timeline where it happens on March 3rd. And then there's another timeline, you know. And since there's multiple scenarios, scenarios, possibilities in this multiverse, we choose, do we get our manifestation then or not? It depends on our own inner worth. The universe doesn't, when you say one child was born poor and the other rich, it's not fair, then that is something that the soul chose prior to incarnation to experience. And we choose basically the experience you want to have. And yes, some souls choose a harder life than others, but a harder life honestly can come with greater rewards later on, because it's often the extremes, somebody who has experienced extreme lack in something is creating a big desire to have that one thing. And the greater the desire, the more they can attract later on if they jump out of that lack mentality, if they do the shadow work that is prohibiting, is that a word, is preventing them from taking that leap into that timeline where they do have it. Somebody, for example, who was born in a family that was not really rich but not poor, money was there for everything that was needed, would not have that strong desire to have more. I'm not saying that that person cannot manifest that as well. Everybody can manifest whatever they want. But I'm just saying that when you came here and you had this template of, for example, experiencing something, then you were not the victim. You choose that in order to gain something out of it. And it could be very different things. Some people who have who used to be criminal and went to jail, and then they learned to overcome that, and then they were mentors for others, or people who did drugs and were maybe like even homeless, and then they got out of that, and then they were the best street workers ever because they could relate. Or somebody who was abused as a child can then become maybe the best mentor or psychiatrist for this specific group of people because they have experienced it themselves, so they know what they're talking about. So there can be a gift, a blessing in disguise in whatever we experience in our life. And if we choose to go that path, but that is something that is not predetermined, because, or you could say it is strictly determined, because there's different timelines. You know, your soul chose, for example, let's say about the abuse stuff, to be abused in order to transform it, to heal, and then to help others. And there is this timeline where they maybe they didn't even survive. That's an option. Then they kept staying traumatized because they never did the work, and then they did some of the work and they learned to live with it, and then some did even more work and they learned to live with it even more. And then there's another timeline where this person completely overcame it and transformed it. So there's different scenarios that already happened, because time is already complete, creation is complete, as Neville Goddard said. It's like a computer game that was already programmed. You just, when you buy the game, you experience going through that game, but it's already been programmed. And so there is determined that there were different scenarios. However, which one you choose to experience, it's completely up to you. Okay, it's 100% up to you, and you always get the one that is reflecting your own inner beliefs. So somebody who believes to be a victim and doesn't get out of victim mode will always stay a victim, because they will attract more situations where they are going to be victimized. That person who learned to get over drugs, for example, if that was an issue, will be the best mentor for other people who had that same problem. They will be a better mentor than somebody who's never even taken drugs in their entire life. For example, I have never taken drugs, so I would be a good role model for people not to take it in the first place. But I would be a horrible role model for people who already did, because, you know, they need somebody who overcame it. And I'm not a good role model for them because I don't have that experience. And often you will find people who are really awakened, spiritually awakened, most of them were because they have experienced some immense trauma. Or Eckhart Tolle, for example, he explained, or he was talking about that he was in this deep depression, and then he got the enlightenment, you know. So those people who receive the most blessing can be the ones who had the most difficult past. But it depends on them. It depends on them doing the work. And if you say like, whoa, well, I'm 50 now, I haven't done the work, it doesn't matter when you start. When you're 50, you still can have decades, because if you learn to manifest, you can have like 5-6 more decades if that's what you, healthy decades if that's what you want, you know. So don't think like, oh, I should have done sooner. Well, start today, okay? It doesn't matter when you start. It's important to eventually start, and then you can create. If you say like, I'm 60 and had this horrible childhood, that's why I never attracted love, then I can tell you, this one person for you, man or woman, is out there, and it will be another person who maybe had experienced love and then lost it. Maybe they're widowed, or they never found it, but then around the same time they had this inner click and they went on their journey, because you can only attract somebody who's on your level. So you would not attract somebody when you do the work who's still traumatized. You will attract somebody who is on your level. But again, if you want to have love, then it doesn't matter how old you are now. Don't think like, I'm so old now, I missed all my chances. No, because you can create tons of other chances. Okay, you still have to do the work. I know I say this every time and I keep saying it. It's not the universe who's like, yeah, you're not worthy of being loved. You're 60 now, you've never been loved. That's because you're not worthy. It is always our own sense of worthiness. Always, 100%. Okay, for the universe, we're always worthy. And another thing is, some people say, is there something too small to ask the universe for? Like, I just want this little thing. And there's nothing too small for the universe, because you are part of the universe. You are a divine spark. You are God. There is a part of God within you. And if you want something, even if it would be like, oh, I'm just trying to manifest a parking spot. Is that too small to ask the universe for a parking spot? No, you are the universe. You are part of the universe. So if this is important for you to get the perfect parking spot, it means it is important for the universe for you to get a perfect parking spot. You know, there's nothing too small. Nothing is too small or too big for the universe. Nothing. So even if you want your, I don't know, $100 million yacht, if that's what you want, I wouldn't, but if that's what you want, then the universe wants to have that for you, because again, you are part of the universe. There is a divine spark, part of the universe within you. So if you want it, the universe wants you to have it. If you love a person, the universe wants you to be with that person. If it's true love, if it's not trauma bonding, projecting something, you know, because if you're still in fear energy, you're not in the frequency of love. It would be more like trauma bonding. But again, if you really love a person, the universe wants you to have it. All they're saying is, you're not in the frequency to attract it now. Get into the frequency to attract it, and then you can have it. So there's nothing too small or too big. Everything you want with your heart, the universe wants you to have, because the universe is within you. We are part of the universe, and it's part of us at the same time. So there's no big or too small. There is no you're worthy or you're unworthy. For the universe, that doesn't exist. That concept does not exist. That is just concept of the ego. That is the concept of being human, you know, to play with the energy, to evolve. The ego is an essential part of us, because it is that part of us that we learn to transform. Because on the other side, we know that we're divine beings. We know that. But we wanted to experience, to learn what it means to be a divine being. And that we can only learn by being confronted with not being divine, even though we are divine. We don't perceive ourselves as divine, yet we are. And that's the game we came to play, to remember, to wake up and remember that we are divine. And again, we are worthy of everything we want, because the universe, there is no unworthiness in the universe. It doesn't exist. Okay? In the eyes of the universe, no one is better than the other. That would be like one of my cells, my bone cells, maybe in this pinky, saying, yeah, I'm better than the cell in that eyeball. No. It's just a different part of this entity that I am, like this physical entity, you know. Nothing is, this cell is not more worthy than this one. It doesn't happen this way, you know. They're all worthy, and I need all of them to be that person, you know, that I am, that is sitting, that you're seeing in front of me, in front of you. And so every part of the universe is equally important. I need my pinky cell, and I need my eye cell, and I need my heart cells, and I need my nose cells, my skin cells. I need all of them. You know, so they may be different cells. You know, a skin cell is a different thing than a bone cell, but we are still part of that same entity, you know. And we are kind of, like, you could say, like a cell of the universe. I mean, it's just a metaphor. But we all are equally important. So the universe is not saying, yeah, you get it, you don't. We decide, do we get it or don't we get it, by, again, our own beliefs, our dominant belief within us. Do you believe you can have it? Then you can have it. You don't believe you can have it? Well, use your manifestation, use your affirmations, make yourself believe you can have it. You know, I've been talking about this before, but if you imagine eating an orange, your conscious mind knows you're not really eating that orange, but your subconscious mind thinks you're actually eating an orange and is producing saliva. So it's not to make your conscious mind believe, oh, you have that, oh, I'm already with that person, or I already have that $100 million yacht, or whatever it is. It's to make your subconscious mind believe that you have it and that you can do it. And if you have done your manifestation work long enough to get that in your subconscious as your dominant thought, your dominant idea of yourself, if you recreated your own subconscious mind to believe in your worth, if you see yourself as absolutely worthy, that is what's getting mirrored back to you, and everybody will tell you how awesome you are and that you're the most amazing person, that you deserve to be carried around in one of those, how do you call those things? You have the image of, you know, like an empress laying in that thing and people are carrying her on their shoulders. You know, people will put you on that pedestal if you feel you are worthy of that. Your person will adore you if you feel worthy of being adored. But the thing is not your person will adore you so you start to feel worthy. It has to come from the inside out. And you do have the ability, and it doesn't matter what you've been through in your life, and I can tell you that from personal experience, it does not matter what you have been through in your mind, in your life, you can, that's Freudian slip in your mind, what you have been through in your mind, because again, the past doesn't exist anymore. It only exists in your mind. It only exists. It doesn't, the past, it's gone. It doesn't exist, only here. And that's the story we need to recreate by doing the affirmations, by the revision, whatever your technique is. But do your work, and then that is what is getting mirrored to you. So anyway, I hope this video helped. If it did, please leave your comments, leave your likes, click on the bell icon, subscribe. There's more content like this. Check out my other content. And again, I am available for personal coaching. And till then,